Carbon Age. We are on the threshold of a new environmental era.
By Byron Bland, Ewan Choi and Rufus Cole.
Why will our era be remembered as the Carbon Age? Historians are concerned with the continuous, methodical narrative and research of past events which relate to the human race. We think nothing is more relevant in our age as the effect of carbon on all our lives, political, financial, environmental and sociological.
Because of the large-scale detriment to our environment, this will be known as the Carbon Age.
Because of the controversy surrounding did our world leaders know and refuse to believe, this will be remembered as the Carbon Age.
Because of the power of oil in our time, the wealth it is given, but also ultimately the harm that it is driven, such as war, think Iraq war, use for buildings around the world, think of the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, not to mention the pollution caused, this will be remembered as the Carbon Age.
Because we are now reaching conclusions as to physical effects carbon particulates have on human health, this will be remembered as the Carbon Age.
Carbon emissions. Since the Industrial Revolution, 1760 to 1840, carbon emissions have been growing and are now at a level that has upset the natural balance that existed before the influence of humans. This will be marked by historical study.
The level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is higher than they have been at any time in the last 400,000 years.
Now that world leaders from the latest in Australia in the east to North America in the west have finally put the levels of CO2 on the world agenda, there is no doubt this will be a source of interest to future historians. At the Climate Change Summit in New York last September, more than 60 heads of state finally accepted the warnings that the Earth, our world, is warming.
Carbon emissions are everywhere, caused by large-scale activities of this era, producing cement for buildings, deforestation, and burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas.
In this current day and age, we are using significant amounts of oil, and it is proven that in 40 years' time, we will have no oil left.
If we want to protect our oil supply, we need to build and enforce a new way of everyday life, without as much oil or fossil fuels. If and when we do that, historians will look back at our old way of life.
Let's look at a graph taken from Sustainable Energy by David McKay, Professor of Engineering at Cambridge and Scientific Advisor to the Government. The upper graph shows carbon dioxide, CO2, concentrations in parts per million for the last 1,100 years, the same data that was shown in figure 1.4. The middle graph shows, on a logarithmic scale, the history of the UK coal production, Saudi oil production, world coal production, world oil production, and, by the top right point, the total of all greenhouse gas emissions in the year 2000. The bottom graph shows, on a logarithmic scale, some consequences of the Industrial Revolution, sharp increases in the population of England and, in due course, the world, and remarkable growth in British pig iron production in 1,000 tonnes per year, and growth in the tonnage of British ships in 1,000 tonnes.
So what does the graph show? It shows how CO2 levels were stable for hundreds of years and then started to rise dramatically at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution.
We know this increase is a long time coming and is still continuing, caused mainly by human activity. As early as 1955, at Princeton University, a symposium of 70 scholars from America, Europe, and the Middle East discussed man's role in changing the face of the earth.
Remember the word anthropocene. It comes from the word anthropology. We will bet money that this will be written about by future historians as a term of the Carbon Age. It will mean the time of significant human impact on the Earth's ecosystems or the rise of anthropogenic emissions of carbon dioxide.
Our sources: David J.C. McKay, Sustainable Energy, Without Hot Air, provided by Adrian Bland.
The Financial Times. World leaders call for action to avert apocalyptic climate change. 23rd September 2019.
Carbonbrief.org.
NASA paper, Global Climate Change, Vital Signs of the Planet.
Video, The Age of Stupid, provided by Mrs. Solden.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Boys, very well presented. Not an easy job to kick it off, and you've set a high standard for the senior schools. I hope they can do us proud. I have one question for you, but it's got two parts to it. You've named the age the carbon age, and you've made a good case for that. My question is, when did, in your opinion, the carbon age start? And probably more difficult question, when will it end?
I think that the carbon age probably started during the Industrial Revolution, as people were producing more modern resources such as cars, trains, and making factories. And for the second question, I think it might end. It'll probably have to end because we might lose all our oil and all our fossil fuels in the world.
And in maybe 40 years, because that's when it's predicted that oil will run out.